You're going to see that message pop up here. There it goes. Let me clear that off on these screens. All right, so midterm, the exam wasn't so bad. Y'all did great on it. I told you the scores were going to go up after I went through, graded them. You saw that go boop, 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 boop. I told you everything that was on it, it was in that study guide. If you went through there, if you had that out when you went through, boom, the answers were there. You may have had to read a little bit in there, but if you paid attention to the classes that we've been going through, the information's there. A couple of things that stood out. I I went over statement. Okay, statement means one sentence. Over and over and over, people said that your brand statement is 4 sentences. Statement means one sentence. Your brand statement is one sentence. Another thing, in your portfolio, you do want certifications. You're going to school to get certified. You're getting certification. When you go in front of an interview, you want those certifications. What you don't want in there are your reviews. They don't care what your manager thought about you. They don't care about those work reviews. Your certifications, your OSHA, your hazardous materials, your continuing educations, those certifications you get in all those classes, they want those. So every time you take a certification, if you get certified for forklift, those certifications, those have value. Every certification you get, what that means, it shows discipline. It shows that you have knowledge. It shows that you want to be in the career field you're in. So although people may, you don't need that, you don't need that. Let me tell you, if there is a position open and somebody is certified in things and you don't, you will lose every time. Okay? You will lose every time. Guarantee it. So the person who tells you you don't need this, you don't need this, they're the person doesn't have it. And they don't want you to have it because you heard the phrase, misery loves company. Has anybody ever heard this phrase, misery loves company? Yeah. You know why? They want you back where they are. Because if you get something they don't have, you're competition. Okay? And we're going to talk about that competition because midterm just came around and I did midterm grades. Anybody look at their midterm grade? Anybody check out what their scores are? Yeah, you should. Okay? Because overwhelmingly, the class is way up there. Some people need to be pushed a little bit. Some people think this class is not necessary. Okay? You think, yeah, I don't need to do this. But let me tell you, the people who are the most successful in their careers do these things. Do you need a class on it? You have to learn somehow. And if you learn quicker, you're going to succeed in your career quicker. Anybody heard of a thing called TED Talks? Anybody heard of that? It's on the internet, TED Talks, yeah. Why do you think it's so successful? Millions of people want to know how to succeed in their careers. They need a boost. They need to find the edges. These are the same edges you're getting here in retrospect, looking back, how to polish your presentations when you go in for interviews, how to create that brand statement, how to do those personal commercials. So we're going to do some backtracking here. We don't like those questions where they say, tell me a little bit about yourself. That is your elevator pitch. That's why we do that elevator pitch. So you are prepared. You know, boom, go ahead, ask me a little bit about myself. I can tell you because I have my elevator pitch. That tell me a little bit about yourself, that elevator pitch, I can spit it out. Boom. That also goes at the top of my resume. That little bit at the top of your resume, that is the tell me a little bit about yourself. See where all these things link together? That's why somebody who's sure of themselves, sure of their career, these things do not bother them because that elevator pitch, that top of your resume, those are all the same things. That is you. Okay. Your brand statement, that is like a tagline. That is you in one sentence. That is what you stand for. That is the way people see you. Okay. Self reflection. That is you taking a look at yourself. Reflection, like in a mirror, you are looking at yourself, you are evaluating yourself. And we need to do this. And when you do that, you don't just look at yourself and go, I'm gorgeous. Self reflection is when you go back through and you say, these are the things I have. These are my hard skills. These are my soft skills. And you need to be specific, not, I'm a great technician. I'm a great this. I'm a good this. Does that really describe you? What makes you great? Well, I can braise. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Okay. Now you're getting somewhere. Now you're telling me what you can do. Don't tell me you're great. That tells me nothing. You have to be specific. You have to tell me why I want you. And the person who can, that's the one that's going to get chosen. And the people who are excelling the most, who are doing the best, they're out there going after the same positions you are. So you are competing with the same people that are applying these same techniques. So I want you to think about that. If you don't apply them and the other people do, who's going to get the position? So pay attention. There's a lot of positions out there, and the one who is the most qualified are going to be the ones, not just with the hard skills, but the soft skills, the ones we are trying to emphasize. Because the employers, the ones doing the hiring, are telling us these are what you need. Okay? Everybody hear this? Yes, yes? Okay? The employers are directly coming to not just Southern Tech, but to all the trade schools and telling us directly this is what we need to see in new employees besides those hard skills. I don't know how to tell you this any more than that. The employers are telling us what they want to see in new hires. So please, let's do this. All right? Yes, we can do this. I see these mad skills in you. I see them in your writing. I see them in what you've done. Now, week 2 is passed. Week 1 is done. Okay, can't open anything in week 1. Week 2, if you're behind, I need to hear from you. I need to know what's going on, what's keeping you from doing those assignments. Okay, I can't sit here and beg. All I can do is say, you know the assignments, you got to fix it. They're your obligations. You got to fix it. Okay, we have 8 actual days of class, including tonight. We got 4 this week, 4 next week. Class ends Thursday of next week at 10 o'clock. not 11:59, 10 o'clock, this class locks. I can't unlock it. I can't extend it. So be caught up, all right? Because at 10 o'clock next Thursday, that's the cutoff. Final exam, everything, your final project, everything. So if you're behind, you need to catch it up, all right? Midterm grades went to the campuses, so they're aware of everything going on. I have to send everything over. They got those. So along with that, it shows them everything you've done, everything you haven't done. The other thing is those participation assignments. Those are 100 points a night. Get those in 10 o'clock. Besides the attendance, it's a 100-point assignment. So try to get those in. All right. Get off the soapbox. We'll get to getting here. All right. So I've been getting a lot of the resumes, or not the resumes, the mock interviews back. Outstanding. Anybody who's been to your mock interview, you'll see the results next week. If you look ahead, you'll see your results grade-wise in the grade book. And so if you've already been and I've received it back, those results have been outstanding. So round of applause to those of you that have already done it. Those results have been overwhelmingly outstanding. So excellent work there. Always want to give kudos. Understand that the skills taught in this class, these are difficult skills for everybody. And it's an ongoing thing for everybody. I have to do these things currently. Everybody that you see working at Southern Tech, we all have to do these skills currently. Why? Because we're in careers. Everybody that works, they're doing these things. The difference is we're telling you about them. We just do these as part of an everyday thing. So you're hearing about them, but these become a natural part of working. All right. So you understand that even though we're pointing these out, they just become a natural flow of things. So it may sound like a lot of hard work. It's not that hard once you get into the flow. So let's start sharing here because we got some things to go over. And we're going to get in here. All right. So that's not the class you want to see. I'm going to switch it over here to our class. There we go. That looks a little bit better. I don't think you want to be tested on Excel. I think this looks a little bit better. Don't you agree? All right. So we're going to take a look here. First thing I want to point out, let me see if I can refresh this here. I'll fix this picture here. There is a picture that should be popping up here, and I'll fix it. But this link, if you click on that, that will take you to a survey. I'll fix that picture so that you can see it correctly. And that is a student survey. I don't know what all questions are going to ask this month, but please take time to click on that and take the survey. It's the way that we adjust classes so that they better suit your need. Now, understand that this class is a required class for everybody as they come through here because we have to prepare you as you leave Southern Tech. We have to make sure that you know how careers work, how to do resumes, how to interview, etc. So that part is always going to be there. But at the same time, how do you like this or that? Whatever questions they put in there, please answer honestly. It's your voice, it's anonymous. I won't know how you answer, but answer honestly. If you like it, don't like it, whatever they ask, just answer the way you feel like you should. Okay. Now we're in week 3, And I will be going back through when you set up your appointments for your mock interviews and pulling out all those dates and that so that any assignment that's affected by your date, I will make extensions on those based on the date of those. So if your debrief, et cetera, is going to be affected by the date, I'll automatically change those. So in here, we will have a debrief in here down here on Wednesday. If your interview is not until Thursday, obviously you can't do that assignment till then. I'll be aware of that. The only other thing that you need to be aware of is if you do not show for a mock interview and you've had it scheduled, obviously you cannot do that assignment. You won't be able to do a debrief for an interview you didn't have, and that will be a 0 score. So we'll have that coming up. Okay, so this week, here's your reading assignments, and then you're going to have another informational interview. This is your second interview. This one is a little bit different. This one, you're going to be talking to someone in any type of supervisor position, and it can be in any career field. It does not have to be in your career field. So this kind of makes it a little bit easier in that you can talk to anyone that has been or is in a supervisor position. And the reason why we want you to do this, we want you to see the other side. Now, this is a little bit different because oftentimes we think that supervisors, managers don't know what they're doing. Anybody ever think that the people above us don't know what they're doing? Yeah, we think they can't do our jobs and we wonder why they're there. That's common. So find somebody that you can talk to. Again, it can be somebody at school, it can be somebody you know, it can be a family member, anybody that has ever supervised anybody. Okay. And you're going to do very similar things to what you did last time. You did an incredible job. And this one, again, just the name and title of the person you're going to interview this week. You're going to give the results next week. Okay. So this week, all you have to do is tell me who and their title. And then you click Start Assignment. And again, this week, just who and their title. All right. So that's going to be nice and simple for today. The reason why Monday's assignment is so light is if you have any catching up to do, this is the time to do it. But don't forget, you can work ahead. We do have a discussion. Please don't miss these discussions. Discussions cannot be made up. Uh, this week's discussion is on your professional network. Why is it important to have a professional network? And what are 3 networking techniques you can use? There is a clickable link here. Click on that and different methods to use. And part of the discussion is to answer 3 of the networking techniques you would use. Think about it. We network all the time, all the time. And networking is a great way to find out parts of our job, how to expand it. If you're considering going into a tech field, networking is key. They get you referrals. They expand your business. They make you wanted. If you are not networking with your clients, you are missing out on return opportunities and upselling. Think about it. Networking has a lot of potential. This is how you get the ability to get free continuing educations when you're in the medical fields, etc. So these are all opportunities. So networking is incredible. If you're not networking, you are not working. So think about that. So this is a great opportunity to kind of work ahead a little. And then we also have building an online presence coming up. Okay. So we are talking about building an online presence and Googling. How many people realize that employers will Google you? A couple of you? Anybody else? Most likely, your employers or people who are thinking about hiring you are going to Google you. So you are going to Google yourself. So I want you to do a search of yourself and see if you find anything about you. Okay. Did you find anything? Was it correct? And take a look at the video and find out what tips you find. Because you'd be surprised, sometimes people find things about somebody with the same name as them that may not be good. And an employer may think that that's you, and that's not good. So that's something else. And then we'll talk about the rest of the week later on. All right. So let's go ahead and get into what we need to talk about today, and that's the interview itself. Now, we talked about preparing for the interview last week. We're going to talk about the actual interview this week. Okay. Now, some of you have started the interview process and have gone through it. So you might think, well, this is a little bit late. It's never too late to talk about an actual interview and how we can improve it. So we're going to do just that. So we're going to talk about how to make a positive first impression, talk about typical job interviews, and the purpose of a second interview and post interviews. Okay. So when you meet for the first time, there are psychological nuances, and these are called subjective elements. Okay. Hint, subjective element will be on the final exam. Now we're talking about finals. Can you believe that? Okay. And heads up, this Friday, so stay caught up. This Friday, the final week's assignments open. Can you all believe that? Final 4 days assignments open this Friday. So a subjective element is a factor that contains bias and it's more emotional than logical. True story, I had a supervisor that we had to stop allowing to do interviews because if a woman came in and she did not like the woman's shoes, she would not hire her. It did not matter what the woman's qualifications were. It was dependent on the woman's shoes. Not kidding. She was hiring people for six-figure positions, and it was dependent on the woman's shoes. We had to stop her from doing interviews, and then we finally let her go. And I hope she interviewed somewhere where they didn't hire her based on her shoes. So subjective elements, they're biased and they're based more on emotional than logic. And this can be a bad thing because you don't have a lot of control over it. Now, first impressions a lot of times come from eye contact, attire, clothes, your smile, body language, and your handshake. A lot of these come just from that. So when you meet somebody for the first time, you need to look them in the eye. You need to make sure your clothes are on point. You need to be smiling. And I mean, not a fake smile. We all know those fake smiles, but your natural smile. It may not be ear to ear, but you need to have one that's comfortable for you. Your body language. Are you slouching? Are you leaning forward? How are you doing it? You should be standing as comfortably upright as you can. Now, don't stand like you've got a board on your back, but you need to be upright. And your handshake. Do you feel comfortable giving a decent handshake? Some people are not very touchy, so they're uncomfortable, but you should feel comfortable enough to be friendly. Now, that in person interview, so many people like it, but then they don't. So when you get there, check in at the reception desk or wherever you need to go and make sure you tell them who you need to see, what time, and everything. Always make sure you have a phone number or a way to contact the person if the person at the desk or wherever you're checking in has no idea who you're talking about. It's not the first time that you get there and the person doesn't know who you're talking about. So make sure. And that introduction is the opportunity to make a positive first impression. Look around, be ready because that person could be coming down the hall. You don't want to be doing something that doesn't set well when the person enters the room. Okay. And make sure your phone has already been silenced or turned off. You don't want to be fumbling with it when they get in there. Now, virtual interviews, we're going to talk about this. You dress completely for a virtual interview. Okay. I can't tell you how many times somebody has dropped something and they go to pick it up and you realize they're wearing shorts with a nice shirt. Okay. Don't do it. Dress the same as you would for a regular interview. Okay. You talk the same. You still get to find out about the people. Everything is the same. You're just not in the same room. The bad part is, and you all got this, the technology. It can be bad. You might not be able to connect properly. So virtual interviews are not necessarily the best, but are you ready for this? 90% or more of the people now are having to do a virtual interview at some point before they get the physical interview. It has shot up. You're either going to have to interview by a phone or video before they have you come in. Can you believe that? 90% of them want to talk to you by phone or video before they have you come in. They don't have you come in directly anymore. Second interview, we got to talk about this. Second interview, you do not have the job, okay? Some people think a second interview means you have the job. No, the first interview most likely is a screening interview. Okay, they are weeding out all the people that may not be qualified at all. A second interview is a formal interview, and it means you pass the qualifications and they need more information. Okay, dress the same for a second interview, but different clothes. You may be seeing the same people, okay, or you may be seeing more. Always make sure you bring your resume again. Bring your references again. Do everything you would for a first interview, okay? So your second equals your first. Be just as prepared. You may meet the same people, or you could go into a panel. Make sure you are ready. You've done all your preparations. You make sure you know how to answer your questions. You know your personal commercial. You have your brand statement ready. You know you. You know your skills. The other thing, do not answer questions yes, no. Those are dead answers. Elaborate a little bit more. You say yes, da 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 da. No, da 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 da. You give them a little more information. Don't kill the conversation. All right. You provide a little more background to it so that you become conversational. Now, you're going to get a little bit of this in one of our assignments this week during what we call the debriefing. You need to evaluate yourself after an interview. How many people kind of do this already? After an interview, you kind of go over your head. What happened? Anybody do this? You should. Okay. So you need to evaluate what went well, what didn't go well. This is a key one. We talked about this with Miss Scarla. Anybody remember this? Follow up with a thank you. How many people remember this with Miss Carla? All right. Follow up. Yes, absolutely. Put your name out there again. Anybody hear the phrase, get your name out of get my name out of your mouth? Yeah, only we want our names in their mouth. We want it in their head. Don't get rid of me. Okay. Now, this is a tough one. Manage your emotions. Okay. It could take 3 to 4 weeks to get a job. How many people knew that? From the time you get that interview, it can be 3 to 4 weeks. How many people were aware? A couple people. You need it now. It moves slow. So you have to manage that. Anybody get depressed filling out applications? I do. You fill out one after the other, and no responses. They don't respond. And that's the part I hate. No response. They don't reply. You always have proper business etiquette. They don't necessarily. Okay. You are the better professional. So you manage your emotions. And by doing these things, you have to be positive, as difficult it is. So keep the negativity away and be positive. Know that if you don't get this one, you were better than what they deserved. Now, I know that sounds silly, but it's true. It was not the right fit for you. There's something better for you. As much as you wanted that one, there is something better. Something was not right, and they did you a favor. Something would not have worked there for you. So you have to keep that positivity. And no matter how well an interview goes, you keep applying and interviewing until you have the job. Until they give it to you, you don't stop. That's why we continue the job search. I know some people go, I got this job, and they stop. How many people have known anyone like that? They know they've got the job, so they stop. And then they didn't get it. It's heartbreaking. You don't stop until you have that job. Okay? So, the employment process includes you evaluate a job offer until they give you a formal job offer. You keep going and you get that in writing. Okay? They will give it to you in writing. Ask them for it in writing because that becomes a contract. You understand that? Once it is in writing, it becomes a contract. Everybody understand that? Okay? Otherwise, what you got? You got words, words on air. They give you a job offer. This is when you talk money. When they are offering you the job, they will talk to you about how much. This is when you can negotiate pay and you can respond to that job offer.
Is this where the and comes in at?
This is that and.
Okay.
This is when you can decide this is enough or I need more. If you're happy with it, jump on it and agree to it. If not, this is when you do the and. And because once you agree to it, you agree to it. Because people will be hired at the same position and they may make more than you. And you can't get upset about that. That's what they negotiated. And some people are better negotiators, or they may have a little more experience, or more certifications, or more, this or more that you may not know about. You just know they're doing the same work I am. Don't worry yourself with that. You know, what goes on in someone else's backyard, that's not your business. And you can't sit there and worry about that. You negotiate the best for you, or you're going to have a very unhappy career because I know there's people that do the same thing I do and they make more. I know there's people that do the same thing I do and they make less. That's not my business. My business is to be the best me I am at the best pay. I negotiate. Do that and you'll be much happier. Do the best for you. You're not negotiating for anybody else. And respond either way. Yes, I want it. No, I don't. Always be respectful. And then that's when you sign off saying that you want the job, you agree to it. Okay? And that's how this works. And if you don't want it, please be the professional and say, I am sorry, but I have to decline your offer, da da da. And they may come back with a better offer. Don't be surprised. And the more skill you get, the better off. And here's another thing. Now, most of you are going to be starting off as a new employee, as an introductory employee, correct? Am I right? Yes, yes. So as you do this, think about what happens after you've been there like a year or two. You now have experience, correct? Yes, yes. You will have 2 years experience. That's a great time to start looking outside the company you're in. Why? Sometimes it's better to leave a current company with experience. You might be able to start at a higher pay, then you'll be able to move up with pay increases. Sometimes this is why people leave one company and go to another. This is why you need to be able to update your resume, be able to know your personal commercial so you can tell them about yourself, so you can do the interview process. Do you see how this process continues as you go through your career? Yes? Sometimes staying with one company for long periods is not always your best. You have to look out for what's best for you. And so that's why I tell people I'm currently employed, but always looking. And people go, oh, well, you're not dedicated to a company. Ask yourself, what would the company do if you were gone? They would replace you. You mean they wouldn't come looking for you? No, they would replace you. So the company would do what's best for the company. You do what's best for you. Sometimes a company will, after a little bit, will look at your newly expanded skill level and move you up quite a bit financially. Sometimes they will move you up just a little bit. So you have to look at, I've got this much experience. Am I better off financially to stay with this company or go with another? That's where you have to look at your goals and where you want to be. And are you better off where you are or where you go? Everybody understand that? So now you understand why we set goals and how do you reach them. And now you understand why we looked at climbing the ladder in one company and possibly looking at another company and doing lateral moves, maybe through a lattice type growing. So there's a lot to this course that makes you think and plan, and why this whole process continues itself over and over and over, because we have to look at our careers as always changing. All right? Everybody got that? So you have control. You decide how you're going to move, how you're going to move up. Now, some companies are very generous and allow you the opportunity to step up and over, and they're incredible, and you'll be with them for years and years and years. Others, you're best to move from one to the other with your experience you gain. The possibilities are endless, and that's exciting. All right. So now, as we're talking about interviews, I also want you to think about respect in those interviews, and how you present yourself is going to show respect to the person you're interviewing with and how it's going to make them feel. And one of the ways we do this is with the way we show them, and my pen has decided to stop, in our presentation. And as soon as we walk through, how do we look? So I want you to show me or describe what you personally would wear to an interview. So you can attach a picture of the clothes that you have, or a picture off the internet of what you would wear, or describe it. And remember, jeans, hoodies, t-shirts, casual wear, or workout clothes are never acceptable. Now, work clothes are different. I understand what you would wear as a tech or scrubs, things like that. That's different. But jeans on an interview, even if you would wear jeans in the field for the interview, no. Understand the interview, you're impressing them. Okay. Business casual, yes. Jeans, no. All right. So that is your participation assignment for tonight. And if you have anything you need to catch up on, please let me know and take care of that so that we can get everybody on track to where they need to and manage that time and keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing awesome. There's just a few things that need to be tidied up a bit. All right. Y'all have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.